U.S. lawmakers just released over 20,000 pages from Jeffrey Epstein's estate. And once again, big names from politics, media, and entertainment are scattered throughout. Beyond familiar mentions like Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, Donald Trump, and Steve Bannon, the new batch also brings several other figures back into focus, giving an even clearer sense of just how far Epstein's network reached. Let's start with Larry Summers. The documents include years of emails between Epstein and Summers, who served as Bill Clinton's Treasury Secretary and later became president of Harvard. Their connection wasn't a secret, but these exchanges reveal just how frequently Epstein tried to broker introductions or open doors for him. In 2018, Epstein even proposed arranging a meeting with the President of United Nations, calling him an interesting person for Summers. And when Trump won the 2016 election, Summers immediately told Epstein to spend zero effort on anything about me with Trump, insisting he wanted to stay a million miles away from what he expected would be chaos. Once the emails became public, Summers announced he would step back from his public commitments, though he would continue his teaching work.
Some of you will have seen my statement of regret, expressing my shame with respect to what I did in communication with Mr. Epstein. I've said that I'm going to step back from public activities for a time, but I think it's very important to fulfill my teaching obligations.
He resigned from the board of OpenAI and said he was deeply ashamed of staying in contact with Epstein. From there, the documents turned to Catherine Rumour. She served as White House counsel under Barack Obama, and her name appears in several email exchanges about the hush money payments Donald Trump made to Stormy Daniels before the 2016 election. One of the messages ends with Epstein writing, "You see, I know how dirty Donald is." And those weren't the only messages between them. Back on September 19, 2014, Rumour wrote to Epstein, "I'll be here all week. You may get sick of me." When she later commented, "Most girls do not have to worry about this crap," Epstein shot back, "Girls? Careful, I will renew an old habit." And considering what Epstein was ultimately exposed for, that line is chilling. Yet their conversations continued in the same light, familiar tone.
And I think that's pretty telling.
In a 2016 exchange, Epstein asked, "Do you think Bill Clinton would like to join you, me, Chud, and Steve? Could be very funny, all off the record." Rumour responded, while he might like to, his lawyer would advise him against it. Which naturally leads to a bigger question. What exactly were they planning? And why would Clinton's lawyer be so wary of it? As these emails resurfaced, Goldman Sachs, where Rumour now serves as general counsel, quickly distanced itself, stressing that all of this contact predated her time at the firm. Rumour, for her part, has said she regrets ever knowing Epstein. And at this point, doesn't everyone whose name shows up in these emails say the same? Another figure mentioned is Peter Thiel. His name showed up in earlier releases, but the newly revealed emails add more context. In 2018, Epstein invited Thiel to visit his private Caribbean island. Thiel's team says he never went. But do we really know if that's the full truth? Thiel later addressed their interactions on a 2024 podcast, saying he met Epstein a few times years earlier, but didn't ask enough questions about who he truly was. He even suggested Epstein knew a lot about taxes. Well, he also seemed to know a thing or two about breaking the law.
The question is really about, why was he so protected?
And maybe most surprising of all, you wouldn't have guessed it. The files include emails from Noam Chomsky. The 96-year-old linguist exchanged occasional emails with Epstein, mostly on academic or personal topics. But every now and then, their conversations would turn to Donald Trump. For example, in one 2016 message, Chomsky referenced Epstein's assessment of Trump, saying, "I notice your prediction was right about Trump avoiding the White House as far too primitive." Chomsky has previously said Epstein helped him move money between accounts legally and that their meetings were rare. But with Epstein, who really knows what was going on behind the scenes? Emails between Epstein and author Michael Wolff, who's written multiple books about Trump, have also been made public. And these exchanges are interesting, to say the least.
Have you ever had a personal relationship with Donald Trump?
What do you mean by personal relationships?
Have you socialized with him?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
One email string seems to suggest that Trump had met some of Epstein's victims, but Epstein himself made a point of saying that the president never got a massage from them. In a particularly striking email Epstein sent to his own account in February 2019, months before his arrest on a high-profile criminal case, he mentioned a victim's name, redacted in the public documents, and noted that this person had worked at Mar-a-Lago. Epstein wrote that Trump knew of it and came to my house many times during that period, adding, almost as a clarification, he never got a massage.
Other people would come and complain, this guy is taking people from the spa. I didn't know that. And then when I heard about it, I told him, I said, listen, we don't want you taking our people, whether it was spa or not spa. I don't want him taking people.
And then there's Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's longtime associate, who's reportedly preparing to ask Trump to commute her sentence. She's told federal officials that she never saw Trump in any inappropriate setting and never observed him receiving a massage from Epstein's victims. Trump, for his part, has consistently denied any wrongdoing or knowledge of Epstein's crimes. But the emails don't stop there. In conversations with Michael Wolff, Epstein talks about his connection to Trump during the time when Trump was gearing up for his first presidential campaign. In one 2015 exchange, Wolff writes to Epstein that CNN might ask Trump about their relationship, either on air or in scrum afterwards. And Epstein responds, "If we were able to craft an answer for him, what do you think it should be?" Wolff's reply is striking. "I think you should let him hang himself. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the house, then that gives you a valuable PR and political currency. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you. Or if it really looks like he could win, you could save him, generating a debt."
It's not a horrible thing to do.
Wolff then goes a step further, saying it's also possible Trump might respond by praising Epstein outright, calling him a great guy who's been unfairly targeted and is just another victim of political correctness, which is to be outlawed in a Trump regime. Fast forward to October 2016, just days before the US presidential election, and Wolff emails Epstein again, hinting at a chance to finish Trump. There's an opportunity to come forward this week and talk about Trump in such a way that could garner you great sympathy and help finish him. Interested? He writes. There are also emails between Epstein and author Michael Wolff from January 2019, during Trump's first term. Epstein wrote about Trump's claim that he had asked Epstein to resign from Mar-a-Lago. Trump said he asked me to resign. Never a member ever. Of course he knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to stop. The White House insists Trump barred Epstein from the club for being a creep, and Trump himself has said Epstein stole young women who worked at Mar-a-Lago, explaining why their association ended. Maxwell, meanwhile, denied recruiting at Mar-a-Lago during an interview earlier this year.
I just wish her well, frankly. I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they lived in Palm Beach, but I wish her well.
Of course, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt was quick to dismiss the emails.
These emails prove absolutely nothing other than the fact that President Trump did nothing wrong.
Meanwhile, Trump accused Democrats of bringing up Epstein just to deflect from their handling of the government shutdown.